Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
Have you ever felt like you were just sitting in a corner somewhere, watching people around you do all sorts of wonderful things, accomplishing so much, being used by God, but you're just sitting there? I know I have. So I know what it feels like to be a water pot, like those in John 2:6. They'd been sitting there for several days and a whirl of activity going on around them, a wedding, a joyous celebration. But the 6 water pots had been pushed to the side. Usually they were used to hold water for washing people's hands. Not a thrilling job, but a job nonetheless. They were big and heavy, couldn't be moved far, so they'd been shoved into a corner, almost empty, the servants rushing around, serving food and wine to the guests. Until, that is, the wine ran out. No one knew what to do. Everyone stood around, frustrated and helpless, until a man walked in. He pointed straight at the water pots and said, "Fill the water pots with water." Now, even the water pots knew drinking water wasn't all that safe. And besides, it was a wedding. No one wanted to drink water. But there was no wine. So water would have to do. The servants hurried to fill the 6 water pots to the brim. There would be more than enough water, but everyone would be disappointed, the water pots thought. But then the man came over and dipped his hand into the water. Suddenly, the water pots knew something miraculous had happened. The water had become wine, more than 120 gallons of the best wine ever. When the man told the servants to give some to the master of the feast, he confirmed this. Now, there was nothing special about those 6 water pots, and no one applauded them for their part in the miracle. But they had been used by God to provide abundantly for a need. After the wine in those pots was used up, I'm sure someone scrubbed them out and put purification water in them again to be used periodically. But if they could remember things, those water pots would never forget the day Jesus made wine from water in them and filled them with joy. We as water pots might not have a very eventful life, but we can be used by God if we are available as those 6 stone water pots were and willing to be used. Then He can fill us with the water of His Holy Spirit and use us to abundantly fulfill a need. Are you available and willing to be used by God? Or are you always too full of other things that you don't have room in your full schedule to be available for the Lord's use? That's really easy to do nowadays. So many activities, all good things, but they tend to crowd out any time for God to use us. So be a water pot, ready and willing to be used for whatever miraculous thing God has planned.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes at our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.